You are now tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with ANet, where your hosts, Annette Harris, analyze intriguing life questions and concerns, such as, do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need a net? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind.
Hey guys, welcome. This is Annette Harris of Mind, Body, and Soul with ANet. You know, today I am just doing a simple chat with you all on today. I do not have a scheduled guest, but it is 12 noon Central Standard Time, and on Wednesdays is when we normally air. So I wanted to come on today just to kind of chat with you. And when you come into the live feed, you know, I always ask that you like and share. I am just going to do a Facebook Live today. At the end of this, I will probably upload it. Yes, I will upload it to my YouTube channel. If you have not done so, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it. I'm so excited. I'm always excited every Wednesday to come before you and to talk with each of you. I'm excited to share guests with you and their products, whatever they have, projects that they have coming up. I love to share and highlight individuals, especially when they're doing an awesome work themselves in whatever capacity they're in, whether it's music or writing a book or what have you. But again, I just wanted to come on today. I want to chat with you guys, something that's kind of been on my heart a little bit. I've been thinking about and have been seeing posts and then also news reports talking about depression during this time that we are in this pandemic. And ironically enough, I right before I see you, Michelle, right before I came on today, I actually heard a report on the news about depression. I said, well, I think I should talk about this today. So I won't be on here long, but I just kind of want to chat. As you see up top, I just want to do a chat. But let me see who's in here so far. If you guys can please go ahead. I know you normally look for my promos, and I did not have one out for today. As I stated, I just want to kind of come on and just talk with you guys. I also want to give you updates on what we have coming up next on Mind, Body, and Soul for the month of September. Now, I have to backtrack before I get into talking about what I want to discuss. September is a hot month. You know why? Because ANet was born in that month. And I think I see two of my beautiful sisters that are on here now who are also born in September. And there may be more of you out there, but Demetria and Michelle, we share the month of September, but we also share being sisters / friends. Those are my girls right there. So I'm excited. Yesterday began the month of September. Today is September 2nd. And so, yeah, some great things coming up in September. Queens were born in September. Oh, yes. Hey, if I don't say it, who will? So I see you, Michelle, says hello. You like the short hair, Michelle? I'm doing something different, sweetie, doing something different. Unbiological sisters, yes, Demetria, that is so accurate. If you ladies haven't gone ahead and shared, if you wouldn't mind sharing for me. I'm trying to share as I'm talking. But again, like I said, I want to talk about depression on today. We are in such an unprecedented time, and dealing with the COVID-19, dealing with being quarantined. We've gone from a wide range of emotions throughout this pandemic, throughout this time since March, right? And a lot of us our cities and states were shut down during the month of March, kind of opening back up a little bit, within the past month or so. but it's so much to go through because think about it. You have this pandemic that has attacked, the United States. It has attacked other areas as well. But here, where we are, in the United States, it's like, okay, you go from, being able to go outside, being able to go to restaurants and go and be with friends and do your normal daily routine, go to work or what have you. You go from all that all of a sudden to a shutdown. People don't understand and realize that first and foremost, you had individuals who were already dealing with depression before the shutdown. So then adding this on top of that, it's like all of a sudden, just like slam, stay in your house, do not go out. So you have to think about what effect that had on individuals and their mindset. So I mean, it's quite rough. It really is. So it's kind of hard. You got to kind of grasp a hold of that. Then you have those who, unfortunately, since the pandemic, have suffered from depression. Because it's gone on months and months and months. I think we kind of thought that we were going to be out of it much sooner than we are. And with it lingering on and on, your mind, individuals' minds are like, what's happening here? When can we go back? I heard a lot of people say, I can't wait till we get back to normal. And that's a lot of people are thinking that. And that's not uncommon to think, and it's not a bad thing to think, because again, we've been pretty much body slammed into this quarantine and into these restrictions and guidelines that the CDC has provided. So, like I stated earlier, we have gone back into opening up just a little bit here and there, different states, different cities, or what have you, restrictions on restaurants and stores. But the main thing that we see now, whenever you go out, well, especially here in Illinois, I'm in Illinois, you have to wear a mask. That's a mandate. So you walk outside your door and you get in your car or you walk down the street and it's almost like you're in the twilight zone because everybody has a mask on. Well, those who are compliant. And so it's really interesting because it's something to grasp. It's almost like you really have to purposely figure in your mind, I'm going to get through this. I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to do what, the restrictions and guidelines are set for so that we can try and get through this. Now, if everybody would do that, I think we would get through it a whole lot easier, but that's another story. All right. So when we're talking about depression here, Michelle says, unfortunately, this may be our new normal. Yeah, you're right. You're right. A full-length positive mental health segment. Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. Hey, cousin Eric, how are you? Eric, make sure you go ahead and share with someone on today. But yeah, let me just talk about a little bit about depression, overcoming depression, which is, me, ANet. I'm always trying to find a way. You definitely address the situation, recognize it, but then I'm always trying to find some kind of a solution, what we can do to help, whether it's ourselves, our family members, or whoever. I'm going to throw this in here. I've seen around on Facebook, on social media, the little videos of the little kids, like they'll have their backpack on their back and then they're running towards the door. I'm sick of this house. I'm sick of this house. Well, that's how a lot of adults are feeling as well. And I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that. We are not discounting your feelings at all. Some people who are used to being out and going out on a regular basis, who have been told you have to stay inside, that's a lot. That's a lot to take into consideration. You're used to going out to restaurants. You're used to doing things maybe with your family members or your spouse or what have you. And it's like you're restricted now. It's almost like you're handcuffed. So what do you do? What do you do in that instance? So I want to encourage you guys. Number one, I'll give you a few key things that I want us to do on today. I want us to try and make sure we recognize what depression is, whether it's in us or our family members. We first and foremost have to understand what it is, recognize it. We have to recognize it, because see, some people recognize it and don't do anything about it. Some people try not to recognize it because they really do know that that's what they're dealing with or a family member is dealing with, but they don't want to give in to it. I always say that once you know and understand something, then the onus is on you to do something about it. And sometimes people don't want to do anything about the situation. They may know. Let me read this comment. Demetrius says, people who are natural homebodies are feeling the pressures of being required to limit outside interactions with people. And I totally agree with you and understand that. And that is so accurate. You have the you have those introverts and you have those outroverts. I myself, I can stay at home in a minute and I don't have a problem with it. But you have other individuals who have issues with that. So thanks for that comment, Demetri. But yes, so the first thing we must identify. So in identifying, you have to know yourself. You've got to know yourself. I see you that are on here. Demetri, you have to know yourself. Michelle, you have to know yourself. Eric, you have to know yourself. Others, I can't see the other names on here. You have to know yourself. So I have to know whether or not this is going to make me antsy. I have to know whether or not this is going to throw me off guard by being in the house, being under quarantine. I have to know how that's going to affect me. And then I can act accordingly. If I know that it's going to take a negative effect on me, then I'm going to have to put some measures in place so that it won't overtake me. So that's one thing we have to understand. Know yourself, recognize and identify your own feelings. We can put that under number 2. Identify your own feelings. And the only way, I always say the quickest way to get help, guys, is to admit you need it. So if I'm over here feeling overwhelmed, it's overwhelming for you. It's almost kind of taking me. I need to recognize that. I need to understand. Don't act like, no, I'm all right. But really deep down inside, you're torn and you don't know exactly what to do. Recognize, understand, identify your feelings, how you feel. And then after that, then you can start asking yourself other questions. Asking yourself other questions about, well, why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel upset? Why do I feel like this is overtaking me where I can't understand or even see what to do? You ask yourself that. You can be honest with yourself, whether or not you want anybody else to know, whether or not I want Brandy to know or Michelle to know or Demetri. You can be honest with yourself. This, ANet, chick, this is bothering me. Child, this is really getting on you. You really don't know how to handle this, or maybe you should call somebody or something. You have to know yourself. Understand, recognize your feelings. That's number 2. Thanks for putting these points up for me, Demetri. I appreciate that. So another question that I want, I'm about to step on something right now. Many of you are Christians. A lot of my circle of friends here on Facebook or whatever, you all are Christians. Now, I'm gonna say something to you all, and I'm gonna tell you, this is not a knock on Christianity, but unfortunately, sometimes as Christians, we don't want to recognize or own up to the feelings that we may have. the downward feelings, if you want to say depression, the downward feelings that we have. Because we're saying, oh, I'm a Christian. There's no way I should feel down. There's no way I should feel like that. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you that is so inaccurate, because God has given each of us feelings. We have emotions. He's given us emotions. He's given us happy, sad. He's given us those emotions. But what we do with it is key. So don't think I'm a Christian, I'm above and beyond feeling down, or, it's overwhelming to me. Oh, baby, please. Don't you even think that way. Because if you think that way, I can almost guarantee you won't get any help. We know who God is, and we know that God can deliver. My late grandmother used to always say, and this is on the medical side, she says, why are you afraid to go to a doctor? She said, if you go to the doctor, then we know what to pray for. And it was simple yet profound. So I say that even in the mental aspect, not only in medical, but in our mental health. We won't even know what to pray for if we don't know what we're dealing with. We won't even know how to handle it if we don't know what we're dealing with. Okay, let's see here. I'm trying to see if I started a watch party, but let me see. Brandy says, please don't talk about it. Please talk about it. Need this. Yeah, Brandy, it's so common now. And I'm going to give you all some stats that I just actually came across right before I came on this afternoon. I was kind of teetering with whether or not I want to talk about this. And then I think God works in the ways that he wants to work. I was listening to the 11 o'clock news, channel 7, and they went out for commercial break, and then they came back in. And then she said, in our medical tip for today, we're talking about depression. And I said, whoa, okay, Jesus, I'm going to talk about this today. So this is some of the stats. Since COVID-19, since the quarantine, depression, they said, is 3% higher than any other time. That may sound small to you, but that's a large number. Now, they did a survey out of 1,400 people, and out of that 1,400 people, 52.5%, or the majority, experienced depression. And it's like, okay, we need to wake up and realize and understand that this is really what's happening. This is what's going on around us. It's happening, guys, whether it, again, is our family member, ourselves, our loved ones. Depression is on the rise. And I already started talking at the beginning of this video, the reasons why. And it also, some of the other stats it says here is that these were also based off of individuals who have lower economic resources. That can send somebody into a depression. Also based off of those who are not married. And you think of it like this: some singles may feel, I don't have any help. I don't know what to do. And then also affects those who had a major stressor, such as a job loss. So we know that individuals have lost jobs. We know that the unemployment insurance, the applications or applicants has increased, is at an all-time high. So you have to think about, you have individuals who have been used to, they've been used to a certain way of life, if you will. My bills are paid a certain time each month. I don't miss a bill. You have individuals like that. You have individuals who have never even been behind in any utilities. And then all of a sudden this pandemic hits and I can't go to work. I can't get paid, depending on what kind of job you have. So then you have those who, unfortunately, they resort to so many different things, whether it is, I was going to say something else. They resort to many different things to try and get back into the situation that they were in before, being able to handle their life, their expenses themselves. But unfortunately, some don't know how to handle it, and some unfortunately commit suicide, or they go out and they commit crimes against other individuals because, again, they don't know how to handle all of this. All right, so let me see what else you guys are saying on here. I hope I'm helping somebody on today. Michelle says, Demetri, I believe that's because it's in their mind that now they can't do what they're used to doing when they want to. There's a big difference in doing things such as going out and about when you want to, as opposed to having restrictions put on you by someone or something else. And you know what, Michelle, I'm glad you said that, because I actually did a positive mental health tip talking a little bit about that. I talked about the mask. And if you guys get a chance, make sure you go over to my YouTube channel, GetCaughtInANet, ANET. I try to give you positive mental health tips to really help us even through this time frame and any other thing that we may face. But one of the tips, when I talked about the mask, I said on there, first thing I said, no one likes for anyone to tell them what they cannot do. You don't want anybody telling you you have to stay in the house. And then you don't want anybody telling you, but if you do go out, you must wear this mask. It's a mandate. You don't want anybody telling you anything. So it's all this adjustment that we have to get used to. But we have to adjust correctly, though, because if we don't, then it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for us and our family members. And I honestly think that, because we're not only faced with this pandemic, but we're faced with social injustice, and people are going out and they're committing acts against other individuals. But a lot of that is partially because they're so upset, they're depressed, they don't know what to do. Let's see. I see you on, Matthew Thomas. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you like and share. Edward Johnson is on. Curtis Smith is on. Demetri says here, the stress of wondering if they will have a home, be able to feed their children, decide to get medication or pay utilities is something that can bring stress that becomes unbearable. And you hit it on the head. Demetri, you hit it on the head, because that is so true. They're so used to a certain lifestyle. They're used to a certain amount of money coming in every month. They rely on that. And yeah, you should have your stuff set up. Oh, yes. Don't just glide through life and say, oh, well, maybe next month I'll pay this bill. Next month I'll pay that bill. No, if you're any kind of a decent human being, you don't want any debt hanging over your head. So, I can understand that situation. Hey, Deatrice, how are you? If you're just now tuning in, no, I don't have a guest on today, but I normally air on Wednesdays at 12 noon. And I just decided just to have a chat with everyone to talk about what was on my mind. And I wanted to talk about the statistics of depression during this COVID, during this pandemic, and how it has been affecting individuals. Believe it or not, people have been suffering. Your next door neighbor, it could be. Your very best friend, it could be. Your cousin, your family member, they have been suffering mentally during this time. So I thank you for putting those points up, Demetria, and so that others, when they come in, they can see. Because I talked about first dealing with depression during the quarantine. You got to know yourself. And then you have to understand and identify your own feelings. Now, when we do all of that, then I believe that we can get help. So I always advocate Christian therapy, Christian therapists. You can't, and I can say this without, talking about anybody or giving out their names or anything like that. But I have had so many phone calls just within the past few weeks. I mean, it's been throughout, but individuals just calling, Annette, this is going on. I need to talk. I'm overwhelmed. And also situations that they're dealing with, maybe in their families or at work or what have you, that have become magnified because of this pandemic. And so they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. And so, you know, I'm always praying, God, you know, whatever you have me to say to individuals, give me what to say. But then, you know what I also do? Since I'm not a professional therapist right now, I'm not a licensed professional therapist right now, I will refer you. I have a great network of wonderful therapists that I will refer individuals to right now. And they have been so excited and blessed to be able to contact those therapists. But it's needed, guys. And these are Christians. I talked about being a Christian too. These are people who believe in Christ. But don't you think that just because you believe in Christ that these things won't hit you? Don't you even think that? I was looking at an article, and I'm sure many of you have seen it too, about Michelle Obama. Was it, we're in September now, last month, I believe, when she shared with us, she was transparent about feeling down and a mild depression. First Lady Michelle Obama. Yes, I still call her First Lady. She was transparent and she admitted during this time of the pandemic how she was feeling. And I think that is so important, especially when you see leaders of those, you know, on the top admitting or sharing with you how they feel. Because guess what? It allows you to understand, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that feels this way. You know, because sometimes I'm telling you, as Black folks, and I know everybody on here is not Black, but as Black folks, we don't own up to it. We do not. I'm telling you, we don't. We've never done it. We will push it under a rug. We will, that's not me. That doesn't mean me, or what have you. And you will just only label folks as being crazy. We got to stop doing that. We have to. Because other than that, we will not get the help we need. Other than that, those who are going and committing suicide, you're gonna be like, why did they do that? Well, they were dealing with depression. They were dealing with these other mental illnesses that they probably wanted to come to you and talk about, but didn't, because you probably just labeled them as being crazy. You know, how many times have we ourselves dealt with something and we just, okay, no, I'm gonna keep quiet. I'm not gonna say anything. Maybe it'll go away. I mean, if that is your mentality ever in life, stop it now. Because I love you. I don't know who's on here, but I love you. And I want you to get the mental help that you need. I do. I don't want to see you down. I don't want to see you depressed. I don't want to see it. But we do understand that the cares of this life can come and overwhelm us. And we know what God can do. Let's see here. Marcus Hill is on. Hi, Byron Hill. Thank you for watching. Let's see. Curtis Shaw, how are you? My old friend. Thank you. Old childhood friend. Brandy says here, this pandemic is definitely a magnifier of all issues, good and bad. Yeah, I totally get it, Brandy, and I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. It has brought out things within ourselves and others that we never knew existed. It shows us who we really are. It really does. It really does. Let's see. I see you, Angela Lane. Thanks for watching. There was another comment here I want to read. Beatrice says, I miss spending time with my extended family, and I miss hugging my loved ones. It makes you sad. And Beatrice, oh my goodness. Thank you for saying that. It's almost bringing tears to my eyes right now, reading that and understanding what you're saying. Because again, we're used to a certain lifestyle. We're used to doing things. We're used to going places at certain times of the year, if you will. Many of us have vacations planned this year, but some things had to be either canceled or redirected. Some of us had projects coming up. There were weddings that were planned. I was due to be in a wedding in June, a bridesmaid in a wedding, and they had to cancel and postpone their wedding. So, all of this, you have to think about all of this. Understand, things may come in life. Sometimes it may feel like it punch you in the gut. And this pandemic seems like it's just punched us in the gut. But we can make it, guys. So I don't want to, when I'm talking today, I want us to acknowledge how we're feeling. But I'm not going to leave you there because I want us to get the help. Let's see. Angela says, everyone has to talk to someone. We just need to talk to the right people. Totally agree, Angela, because guess what? You can't talk to everybody. There are some people that I know who can't handle what I'm dealing with. And I mean that in a sense. I may tell them, may be crying about something. They may break down and cry with me. Well, but I need some strength right about there. So I'll go tell Sally. Sally should be able to help me, whether or not Sally goes home and cry on her own or what. But you understand what I'm saying. We need to know the right individuals to talk to. We really do, definitely. And I'm also seeing more of the virtual therapy as well. You may not be able to go into a therapist's office, but they do have virtual therapy. Chantel Biddings, she is definitely an excellent therapist, and she was even on Channel 7 advertising virtual therapy. So I'm grateful for individuals like she is that is, expanding their practice to do it virtually. All right, Michelle says there are a myriad of individuals suffering with depression. Many just don't know that what they're feeling is this, and many just don't want to admit to it. It is vital to address this thing head on because it can and will destroy you if you don't deal with it. Y'all are helping me today. Y'all helping me talk this thing through with everyone. You all are helping me. Thank you. Let's see. Hey, Eric. Hey, cousin Jamone. I appreciate all of you for coming on. Make sure you click and share. We're just doing a little chat today with ANet. And my topic of choice today is talking about depression. And it's so vital that we understand that this is actually what's happening. Don't turn a deaf ear to this. If you know of anyone who is suffering from depression, or they're having a hard time dealing even with this pandemic and everything that has come with it, they may be having a hard time dealing with the social injustice and everything that's come with it. Why don't you tag them today as we're talking. We want to see if we can help one another on today. But yeah, there was something else here. I mentioned about that you have to ask yourself, if this is you, why aren't you happy? If you're a Christian, there's another question I want to ask you. If you are a Christian, if so, does your faith hinder you from acknowledging your feelings in order to get help? Ask yourself that question. Does your faith hinder you from acknowledging your feelings in order to get help? We know that Jesus healed all manner of sickness and disease. We know that. So I don't see how your faith should hinder you from acknowledging your feelings so that you can get help. If you feel that, oh, they're going to look at me strange, I'm a missionary, I got this title, I got that title, they're going to look at me in a different light, then maybe you need to let that religion go. You need to seek God. And understand what I mean by religion, okay? So know that. Now, many of you heard this story before, and I'll tell it again right here, that when I first started my show, it'll be 7 years in November, coming up in another 2 months, we'll be celebrating 7 years. When I first started my show, I second guessed myself for probably about an entire month. I had a show every week. About a month, I second guessed myself. Lord, are you sure this is what you want me to do? You sure this is what you want me to talk about? And every time I exited off of the air, I would ask the Lord that question. And he would always answer me by, let me tell you how he answered me. Individuals would inbox me. I would see news reports about pastors, spiritual leaders who were suffering from depression or other mental illness. And they were committing suicide. I started my show, like I said, 7 years ago in 2013. You all can go back and look at the statistics about the number of spiritual leaders that committed suicide because they were dealing with depression and mental illness. I mean, it was back to back for about a whole month. After a while, I said, Lord, I'm going to stop asking you that question because this is what you have me to do. Well, I said, I don't want nobody else to commit suicide, but he wanted me to bring this platform so that people will have a safe space, so that they will be able to talk about what was on their minds and what they were dealing with and how it was affecting them, no matter what position they were in, whether or not they were a spiritual leader or a child. And understanding and knowing that as a Christian, I can still get the help I need. Let me just acknowledge this first. All right. So I threw that in there. Now, let's see. Brady says spiritual leaders ending their lives. Yes, they did it. It was constant. One out in Georgia. There was, unfortunately, one here in Illinois. There are a few more. I can't think of the areas that they were in, but it was very sad. And one of the spiritual leaders, he had, I think, like 2 morning services. He went to the morning service, preached, and said he was going to go home in between the first and the second service. Well, the second service, his wife and children, the rest of the family, the rest of the church were sitting, waiting for him to come back for the second service. And they were like, where is he? Where is he? Do you not know that man went home after the first service? This spiritual leader, he was a pastor, went home after the first service, sat in his driveway in his vehicle and shot himself to death. He committed suicide because he had been suffering from a mental illness. He couldn't handle it. And he was the exact same spiritual leader who months before, because they told it at his funeral, we watched clips from his funeral, who months before had interceded for someone in his congregation who had planned to commit suicide. That individual got up and talked about how that pastor put himself out on a limb for him. And guess what? That pastor called that individual every single morning to make sure that they were okay. This same pastor committed suicide himself. This thing is real, y'all. It's real. And it's something that has to be addressed. It's got to be. Michelle, oh my God, he felt he had no one to turn to, not even God. So sad. Michelle also says, thanks for tagging, Brandy. Michelle also says, you see what happened with Robin Williams? And this man kept a smile on his face and ours. While people are making other people smile and laugh, they're dying on the inside with feelings of hopelessness and feeling that no one can help them. I'm glad you brought that up, Michelle, because I actually did a show on Robin Williams and his depression, what he was facing. And many of us could not understand. You said it all in that comment. How could this man who made us laugh, Mark and Mindy, he's doing all kind of just silly stuff. We just sometimes just laugh at his looks. And yes, he was dying on the inside. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes those who are constantly making jokes, it's not all the time, constantly making jokes, check them themselves. See how they're doing themselves. I'm sure Robin probably felt that making people laugh was his mission. He did it well. How many of y'all can agree? He did it well. And he continued on in that. So he was a functioning comedian. He continued to function in spite of what he was feeling, but yet he was dying on the inside. And I hate to see stories like that, and it happens all around us all the time, but we have to do something about it. I see you, Sunday Love. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching. Apostle Hunt says depression is real. Thank you for watching, my co-host and friend. Michelle says, as a believer, I was apprehensive about reaching out to therapy after my mom passed unexpectedly 2 years ago. I realized my reluctancy came because it wasn't encouraged at church, neither at home. But I did it, still doing it. And I give you a big hooray for that, Michelle. We don't realize the effects that situations in life have on us, whether it's the death of a loved one, a spouse, a child. We don't realize the intensity or what it really does to us on the inside. Again, we just slough it off. We push it off. Oh, I'm going to be all right. I'm strong. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share something with you. I honestly believe that back in 1983, when my brother was tragically taken away from us, that I, ANet, could have benefited from therapy. We didn't have therapy. Back then, it wasn't, that was when it was really taboo to talk about going to a therapist, okay? Now, I didn't have the presence of mind back then to know that I needed therapy to get through. And you know why I say that today, and I'm a lot of things I went through in my life has it pushed me into this area of psychology. All right, but back then I couldn't. Once my brother was killed, I had to sleep with the light on. I had to sleep with the TV on. I didn't trust anybody that wasn't blood related to me. I was paranoid. If we went out, everything looked different to me. And then I started wondering, did you have anything to do with my brother's death? Did you? It was, that's what I was dealing with. So yes, I, at 15 years old, could have benefited from therapy. Now, I'm not knocking anybody, for not putting me in therapy, because that just wasn't talked about. It wasn't discussed. So that's why now when I see situations in individuals that are dealing with stuff and it's like they're keeping stuff in, that's why I reach out to them. That's why I do that, because I know what I went through and I know what I would have benefited from. Let's see here. Michelle, you had me going off on that comment, but thank you. Let's see. Apostle says, I was depressed for an entire season of my life and didn't even know it. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Some individuals probably say, how could he have not known that he was depressed? Well, if you want to share some things with us, Apostle, you can here in the live feed, but I can almost guarantee you that you were continuing to function as normal. You were continuing to do what was expected of you as normal. And so that may have been the reason why you didn't realize at first that that's what you were dealing with. You probably felt something's not right here or whatever, but I have to do what I have to do. And I'm not sure if you were, in your position as an apostle at that time or not, but, as a husband, as a father, you continued on in doing what you had to do. So that's probably why you didn't realize it. And others can comment on that as well, whether you've experienced it or not, and you didn't know or did know and didn't do anything about it. I see you, Alyssa. Thanks for watching. Let's see. The apostle says here, I was too busy being strong that I didn't realize I was hurting. And see, you got to make me cry. I'm going to do this show today, but that is so common. We feel that we just have to continue being that strong individual. Meanwhile, our little feelings over here. Feelings. Go ahead, just lay down for a little bit. I still got to take care of this over here. You're doing a disservice to yourself. And I'm not knocking Apostle or anybody else, but I'm just encouraging you. Address your feelings. We talked about that. Identify your feelings so you can get help. Let's try to do that. That's the whole point of talking with you all today about depression. Because again, I gave those stats. Depression is at an all-time high now, especially since this pandemic. So let's try to do what we can. Let's address it. Now, of course, we don't want to leave you there. We're not going to leave you there. But I love that point. I was too busy being strong. Michelle says, I've been suffering with depression for as long as I can remember, starting from childhood. It is draining. And sis, I get it. I do. I get it. And I understand where you're coming from. I really do. Because sometimes after a while, it just becomes your norm. You're a mother, strong mother, a beautiful wife. You're an employee. You're a grandmother. So you continue functioning as normal. But it's time to get that help for yourself so that you can help somebody else. You can pay it forward. I want you to get the help that you need. Whatever it takes to get that help. And there may be, I'm not only talking to her, but I'm talking to those of you who may or may not share that that's what you're dealing with. Let's do our best to not allow the cares of this life to overtake us. Things that we may have dealt with in our childhood. Let's address that thing right on. Head on. However, it may hurt. It may hurt to even bring it back up. It might bring up some old wounds. Now, and I'm gonna guarantee you, if you go to a therapist, they're gonna peel back those layers because they need to get down to the bottom of why you're feeling like you're feeling. So if you have to go therapy by yourself or with a spouse or with the child or family therapy, I am encouraging you to do that. But I see you, Kiss. Thanks for watching. Brandy says, I sat down with one of my sons recently and I had a 4-hour late night conversation about how we both separately battled deep depression and didn't recognize it. Whoa, this is deep. We assumed that depression meant that you were crying all the time, wanting to slit your wrists and drink poison. We didn't know that feeling like a walking corpse with no emotions, hope, or interest is functioning depression. You just gave the definition. You kind of summarized what I've been talking about today. And I thank you, Brandy, because that's it. We have this concept of what it means to be depressed. And we think that we have to, like you said, slit your wrists or drink, something to take your life or what have you. But you've heard a couple of people on here already. Apostle Hunt, Michelle, they've been functioning. Well, he had a season of it. Michelle says she's been functioning. So we have to get out of that thought that is so extreme, to have these feelings. Again, the quickest way to get help is to admit you need it. Apostle says we don't admit, I don't know if I read this, that we are depressed because we think it is a sign of weakness, when really it's a part of life. Acknowledging it early puts you ahead of the struggle. Man, I can stop the show right there. You and Brandy, y'all just did it. That's it right there. Admit you need it. It's a part of life. Admit you need the help. Depression is a part of life. It's a sign of weakness. But acknowledging, I like that last part, acknowledging it early puts you ahead of the struggle. And I totally agree with that. You guys, again, if you know somebody, if it's you, please don't let this fall on deaf ears today. I don't know why. I believe the Lord impressed me to do this. But again, and he confirmed me, giving me those stats right before on the news. They were talking about how depression is at an all-time high since this pandemic. So it's not anything that we can glide over. We can't just slide through this, guys. Some may be depressed because they're dealing with a sickness or feeling down or low. Maybe they're dealing with some other kind of medical condition that had nothing to do with COVID. And then you have others who are probably dealing with COVID, or others who have lost individuals to COVID. That's a lot. And you have to think too, those who lost individuals to COVID, when we experienced, what I experienced, I think probably one of the first ones that I knew of that passed away from COVID, wasn't a relative, but somebody that I knew. I was praying for their spouse because you know why? The spouse wasn't able to go into the hospital. I'm talking about the first time that, because we've had many deaths, unfortunately. I was praying, I said, Lord, please. I said, don't let this spouse have to go through losing their loved one without even being by their side. And I said, do you know what kind of mental effect that's going to have on that spouse? You've been with them for years, waking up in the same bed. Or if it's a child, you've been with them, you know, your loved one, and you couldn't be by their side when they passed away. That can have a serious mental effect on an individual. And that can send some into a spiraling depression. It can. It can. Let's see. Prophet Rolando, thanks for watching. I'm at work and apologize for being late, but depression is real. It can creep up on you and overtake you before you know it. I agree. Nia Davis, I see you on. Hey, Divine, good to see you. And thank you again, Brandy, for tagging these individuals. Prophet Rolando says, you're definitely in the spirit on the Lord's Day. Today's topic is right on time. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. Pray for me. You pray. Pray for me, Apostle. Divine says, hey, you know about depression? Yeah, I get it. And again, a lot of us are believers. We're Christians. So it doesn't make us a non-Christian because we have these feelings. Not at all. It didn't make me a non-Christian if I had to go to a doctor for a medical issue, did it? What's the difference in mental health? There's no difference. And God is the same. He can heal the physical body and the mental. Brady says, I was just going to say thank you for hearing God. I didn't even know I needed this. Oh, okay. Thank you for tuning in, sweetie. Thank you. I want to encourage you guys. It's about 1 o'clock. Came on about noon, so I'm not going to do the whole 2 hours. Oh, thank you, Divine. Oh, you're so sweet, dear. You're so sweet. A couple things I want to share with you. I need for us to make sure that we surround ourselves with individuals who will what? Recognize our situation, how we're feeling. Surround yourself with those individuals, because whether it's family, friends, or what have you, because guess what? Going through feeling like this is already one thing. But then if you go and try and talk to somebody and they were like, girl, please just go somewhere and pray. Girl, please, that's just, maybe you got gas. I just threw a little humor in there. But seriously, You have to understand that everybody's not going to know how to handle this. So you have to surround yourself with the right people, whether it is sitting down with someone, like Brandy said, she had a deep conversation with one of her children about this, you know, getting it out, acknowledging it, as Apostle said earlier. Acknowledge this thing, because I'm telling you, if you don't acknowledge it, what way is it for you to get help? Tell me, somebody tell me, if you don't acknowledge this, what way can you get help? Because if you don't recognize it, now see, I can recognize it in somebody else in a minute. But if you don't recognize it yourself, if it's happening to you, you can't get any help. Just as simple as that. Start going back, in addition to surrounding yourself with individuals that will help you through this, who are going to support you as you seek help. You know, start going back, take yourself back. Whether you feel, okay, Annette, that's fine. I want to talk about it. I want to acknowledge things, but I really don't have anybody to talk to. If you want to sit down, make a list. All right, I was feeling this way when this happened, such and such and such and such. I was feeling this way when that happened, such and such and such and such. And then guess what? When you get through writing all that down, take yourself in there and talk to God. Talk to God about it. Now, again, I do encourage the therapy, because therapy can help you too. I encourage Christian therapy. I do. But if you're feeling that, you know, you can sort through things, because see, sometimes some people, they don't want to talk to anybody else, and that's fine. But again, don't let that hinder you from acknowledging what you need. Okay. So if you got to sit down and write it out, on April 1999, my mom died, and that messed me up. I was feeling this kind of way, da 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 da. All right. But after you're writing it down, we're not going to leave it there. Either you can contact me and I can send you to a therapist, a licensed therapist, but you always need to be praying. I was going to say either that or pray, but you pray also. But I can also refer you to a professional licensed therapist. Let's see, how you doing, Apostle Miles? Thank you so much for watching on today. Did I mention Angela Johnson? I appreciate you. Tam Eddington, thank you for watching. Apostle says, sometimes denial is masquerading as faith. Oh, now see, you just said something. Apostle, I'm trying to end up here, and you are throwing rocks and hiding your head. You're starting to fire. But you're so right. And I know, you know, that as a man of God, a spiritual leader, you've seen that more times than not. Denial masquerading as faith. I can't help but keep going back to liking it to a medical condition. The minute you feel something in your body, guess what you're getting ready to do? Can I get an appointment with Dr. such and such and such and such? Because I felt something in my left arm. You didn't deny what you felt in your left arm. You called up that doctor, didn't you? So let's again treat mental health the same way we do medical health, okay? Acknowledge that you still need help. Acknowledge what you're feeling, and then seek out the help. Talking about what you went through. I get it. Yeah. But so many people do that too, Apostle. They say, oh, I have faith, you know, or what have you. And I'm not knocking your faith. I am not knocking your faith at all. Faith is what got us here. Faith is what got me standing up. Okay. Faith is what has me talking. So we're not knocking that. But then you cannot deny what you're actually feeling and label it as I have faith. Because guess what? It's going to negatively affect you, of course, your family, those around you. And nobody's going to get help. And then you don't want that thing escalating and keep, you know, going down and down and down your ancestry line. Stop that thing right now. I applaud you, Brandy, for talking with your child. I applaud you for that. Let's not sweep things under the rug and think that, you know, oh, if I don't talk about it, my child ain't gonna know and it's not gonna affect them. Guess what? It's going to doubly affect them. Because number one, you didn't talk about it. And then they probably got this from you. So whatever way we can head this thing off from spiraling down to our children and maybe out to our loved ones or something like that, do it. Do it. Michelle said it most definitely is a medical condition of the mind. Okay. That is the most important thing to take care of. Without our mind, how can we function and take care of things? Yep. Because this is the brain, your brain. Take care of that brain. Take care of that mind. Brandy says here, before we pass our issues on to our kids, along with our bad habits of not dealing with them, get help. I think I'll probably end with that because that in itself is very true. It's true. This has been something today. Like I said, I had no idea that I was going to go in this direction. I really didn't. I knew that I wanted to share with everyone what I felt God was giving me and talking about depression, because again, it's something that is, it's prevalent. It's more prevalent now, especially with this COVID, than anything. Quarantine, this pandemic, so many people don't know what to do. They don't know which way to turn, and they've allowed their feelings to overtake them. But I want you all to get the help that you need. Apostle Hunt says, faith is action. The sooner we acknowledge our pain, the sooner we can be healed by faith. Yeah, I agree. The sooner we acknowledge our pain. That's a word right there. You can preach on that, Apostle. You can bring a word on that. And I want you all to be healed sooner than later. I do. That's from the bottom of my heart. I don't want any of you out there suffering. I always advocate positive mental health and understand and know, again, that the situations in life can spiral us into certain mental capacities, if you will. But I want you to get the help that you need sooner than later. So let's acknowledge what we're dealing with. How you gonna make this your short segment? I'm sorry, Brandy. You have to go as the spirit leads. When the spirit leaves, then you gotta leave too. But no, I hope that there was something said on today that would help you all. Again, if you're looking for a licensed professional therapist, I have a few that I can refer you to. And until I complete my master's, then I'll refer you to myself. But yeah, acknowledge what you're dealing with. And I know, and I'm just going to say this, I know some just say, oh, she's just talking that psychology stuff when she really need to be just talking spiritual. That's sometimes the problem. This is the whole purpose of mind, body, and soul, is to bring psychological and spiritual aspects of everyday life together. Now, I don't believe you can do one without the other. I just don't. It's just me. God can work through the psychologist. He can work through the therapist. But we got to acknowledge, guys, we have to. Beatrice says, some of this is generational, not talking about a curse. Okay. My parents and that generation didn't want to talk about mental health issues at all. This was the same generation that would whip you and tell you not to cry. Yes, Lord. I love that generation. They made me who I am, but we need to let the harmful stoicism of the silent generation go. Girl, if you don't come on and preach yourself, I don't know. I just don't know. That's a word right there as well. Janetta Franklin, thank you for watching. And again, I do appreciate you guys. Hey, Darcy, how are you, beautiful? I appreciate you guys tagging individuals on today. Like I said, just want to have a little chat with you guys. I didn't have a guest scheduled for today, but I just wanted to chat about what was on my mind. Depression is real. I wanted to chat about it. I wanted us to understand and know what we can do first and foremost to recognize it, identify your own feelings, know yourself, recognize and identify your own feelings before you can get help. Ask yourself the questions. Why am I not happy? What's going on in my mind? I'm just doing a quick recap. And if you're a Christian, are you not seeking the help because you're afraid what the Christian world would say? If so, you need to check your feelings and your thoughts and your belief in your religion. You also need to surround yourself with those who are likely to help you to get the help that you need. You don't need anybody that's going to be a naysayer and that's going to say, oh, please, you're just talking on top of your head. No, you need individuals that's going to be in your corner. And also, what did I say last? I think that was probably my last thing, because you need somebody that's going to support you as you get the help that you need. We need it. We need it. We need it. Brandy says, I literally just had this conversation with an amazing Christian therapist. Wow. We're trying to pray everything away, quote unquote, pray everything away, whilst God is actually leading us to get the help we need, and we refuse to take it. I'm going to share this real quick. And before I came on, I was kind of looking at some of my past shows, and one of them was dealing with depression. I had an individual on, young woman. At that time, I don't even think she was in her 30s maybe? And she talked about how she had dealt with depression just about all her life. She was sad all the time and she didn't really know why. And, so she would go through life. She was functioning, but she was always sad. And then one time, a friend of hers came to her and said, why don't you go and talk to a therapist? Now, see, that's where I talk about surrounding yourself with somebody that's going to help you. All right. She said, somebody said, go to a therapist. They refer her to a Christian therapist. And she said, when she got in that therapy session, yeah, they peeled back layers. But then after a while, the therapist stopped and said, let's pray. Said, let's pray. So remember I talked about the two aspects, the psychological and the spiritual? I'm quite sure that the therapist, did what she did textbook wise, but then she felt led by the Spirit of God to pray. And the young lady that was my guest, she's overcome depression. And so now she's telling others, about how they can overcome as well. So I'm telling you, that's why I encourage Christian counseling. That's why I do that. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna get out of here, guys, but I want you guys to look at this, because actually what I did do, the month of September is loaded. I have guests every week this month, and I'm so excited about my guests that I want you guys to take a look at this little vid that I put together. Take a look. Let me see if I can play this now.
Get caught in a net with ANet. For your mind, body, and soul. Get caught in a net with ANet. It's your intellectual radio show, here to inspire you and encourage you to be your very best. Get caught in a net with ANet. Get caught in a net with ANet. For your mind, body, and soul. Get caught in a net with ANet.
right, guys. All right. I just wanted to put together something real quick and let you know I have a loaded guest list for September, and I'm so excited. The first week we're going to talk with Kanisha Blair of Kanisha's Catering, and she's going to come on and talk about her catering business, talk about herself. She has a great story behind even starting her catering business. That's on next week, September 9th. September 16th, Michelle Hollins-Casey is going to be my guest, and oh, you all need to tune into this. She is going to talk from the mind of an 8-year-old when she was 8 years old. And we're going to share with you, unfortunately, some things happened with her. And, we're talking about depression on today, but the thing that happened with her could spiral into that. And we're going to talk from the mind of an 8-year-old on Wednesday, the 16th. Unfortunately, some of us had been abused, molested when we were younger, and so she's going to come in and tell her story. On the 23rd, of course, we're going to have fourth Wednesday, Dr. Shirley Hill, Mo Faith Nutritional Services. I can't wait to find out what her topic title is going to be for September. And then, of course, on the 30th, we have we really have 5 Wednesdays. So I'm kind of doing, I think I'm probably doing 6 shows this month for Mind, Body, and Soul. On Wednesday, I'm going to do a double header. At 12 noon, I'm going to have Ministry Spouses segment with Cheryl Hartshorn Stevens. And this woman of God, I'm telling you, she's powerful, she's strong. Her family has been through an awful lot within the past few years. She's going to come on and talk about the diagnosis of her husband. She's going to come and talk about the major accident her son had. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this Ministry Spouses segment. And she's so eager to come on and share what God has done. And then that's at 12 noon on the 30th. At 5 p.m. on the 30th, I am going to have, and I'm so excited about this, an interracial couple show. We're going to talk to these 3 different interracial couples about what it means to be an interracial couple in today's time. Now, I'm kind of paraphrasing that title, but this is what we're going to be talking about, because we are living in such a time where racial tension is high. So I want to know what these couples that have married outside of their race are doing about this. What are they saying? How are they living their life? So we're going to talk about them. So that's going to be Brandy and Joe McCoy. That's going to be Adam and Nikki Harley. And also Marcus Hill and Carmen will be on with us. I'm so excited that they're going to round out my November. And that's about it that I'm going to have for September. I'm excited. I don't want you guys to miss anything. As soon as the promos come out, we're going to post them, and I want you guys to share them like crazy and let everybody know what Mind, Body, and Soul is doing. If you haven't done so, go to my YouTube channel, type in GetCaughtInANet, ANET, and subscribe. I'm going to get back into putting up my positive mental health tips, so that you all will have them at your leisure. You can look at them. And also, you can go to my website, GetCaughtInANetRadio.com, GetCaughtInANet Radio. And last but not least, before I leave on today, we already talked about September being a wonderful month because I will be celebrating another birthday. 53 is coming in about 25 days. And I'm excited about that, to celebrate another year of life. I don't take life for granted. I'm telling you, it seems as if life is fleeting. It's going by so fast, and young, old are leaving. It's like they're, running to the cash register line to leave up out of here or something. But I thank God for being alive. I really do. And I appreciate God for leaving me here. And I'm looking forward to celebrating another birthday. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, for sticking with me, for listening, for your comments, your questions. All of you that shared your own personal testimonies, being transparent about what you've dealt with yourself. I do thank you all. And we're going to get out of here, and I will see you guys on next week, right? September 9th. September 9th will be the first show of of the month with guests. Let's see. Oh, I see you guys. Thank you. How you doing, Elder Woody? We appreciate you. We thank you for joining us on today, for watching. A lot of you that are coming in now, go ahead and be kind and rewind on today, and we would appreciate it. You can leave your feedback as well. I will also go back to, if there are any comments that I need to make sure that I make a comment or respond to, I will do just that. All right, you all take care of yourselves, and until next time, get caught in a net.
For your mind, body, and soul gets caught in a net with ANet. It's your intellectual radio show, here to inspire you and encourage you to be your very best. Get caught in a net with ANet.
All right, guys, take care. Take care. Be safe. Wear your mask and wash your hands. We will see you soon.